Lambda network at Kodak is 2 years old, with a participating membership of approximately 100. Lambda's mission states its key results are education and support. Let me talk a little about support. Given that it is still considered, by some, acceptable to speak out against homosexuality, it is not hard to understand why support is a key focus of this network. Lesbian and gay issues are being discussed in every institution of our society, from the media to government, business, schools, and churches. The rhetoric from some sources has been misinforming and at times destructive. One of our goals is to expand your information by adding our experiences to your picture. For myself, this network and the support I have received by being a part of it is allowing me to complete a journey begun in high school. I struggle to understand, who am I? Fearing that if others knew the truth, I would lose them as friends and family. Afraid I could no longer be a part of their lives. Later, coming to terms with my sexual orientation meant accepting myself, but I felt excluded. There was an unspoken understanding of how much I could be myself and where. Now, having the freedom to come out at work is nothing short of a wonderful gift. Instead of being concerned with, will I stand out? Who will wonder about me? I began to question what all this fear is about. And I started to test boundaries. At a luncheon with a group of female colleagues, I told them I was gay to explain the reason I didn't encourage friendships with them beyond the superficial level. They listened, and listened, and listened, and somehow we all got through lunch. And as these things often go, I am now at the point where I fill in my personal details just as they do. For those of you who are not gay, doing something like this, sharing who you are with a group of people, can be like running a marathon. Your heart speeds up, your palms get sweaty, and you re-examine your decision to share this information. But the more you work at it, the more you realize you belong in this world just as much as anyone else. For a while, I practiced coming out to just about anyone I could get to listen. People at places like shopping malls, airports, concerts, any public place that lent the opportunity. If you would really like to get a personal understanding of what it is like to be gay, give this a try. Just imagine how you might feel when the other person believes you. The point is this: when you don't know where you stand, any place is a scary place. This is why it is so important for all of us to learn how to talk to each other. My guess is that most of the gay and lesbian Kodak employees know about this event. The majority of them are not here tonight. The fact that all of us have come here to meet sends a very strong statement. Whether we see these people next year or not, a positive impact has been made. A question that keeps coming up is, how many gay people are at Kodak? I don't have an answer. It's not hard to understand that getting an answer to this question is difficult, but something for you to consider. When one person is gay, others are impacted, relatives, friends, and coworkers. These people can build their own closets and often do. But how can we have the kinds of rewarding relationships we all aspire to when they are still in place? Through support, both publicly and personally, we can dismantle these closets. Education is the other key focus for this network, and is the reason we are here this evening. The process of putting this event together has already made a difference. The planning committee has had conversations with members of other networks, human resource personnel, individuals responsible for education, and managers at all levels of this company. it became clear to us that our event was not viewed as a typical network project. During one conversation, I was explaining what the network was trying to accomplish, the purpose, outcomes, etc. As the conversation continued, it seemed the person on the other end of the phone was becoming more comfortable with our plans for this event. Then she said, quote, "But Catherine, the managers don't understand homosexuality." And I thought to myself, no one ever told me about it either. I realize her statement doesn't speak for all managers. In fact, many people in this room have had enough conversations to know this isn't true. And that was a while back. I do believe the help we have received and the conversations others have had on our behalf are all part of what was needed to get us here tonight. As human beings, we all share basic intrinsic drivers. We all need to believe we are of value, we need to belong, and we need to continuously grow as individuals. From a member's perspective, the network makes a difference by offering opportunities to explore and work through these issues. Interestingly enough, the company's health and growth are always considered. Also, networks are available to everyone to build relationships. By adding to what we already know, we increase our awareness of how our actions affect others. What we are trying to share tonight is who we are, our relationships, our commitments, who are in our families. Being gay or lesbian is not a lifestyle or a set of behaviors. It's an identity, it's an orientation that doesn't change no matter how you choose to live your life. Lifestyles are things like practicing a profession, being a student, a parent, retired, a community volunteer, a church leader, single, married, and the list goes on. Our hope is that we walk away tonight realizing we have more in common than we may have previously thought, and that we already know each other better than we may think. At times, it has been difficult to distinguish between what is education and what is support. But more importantly, both factors are key factors in making a difference for all of us. You are about to see two vignettes intended to illustrate how work life and personal life can easily overlap. The first, titled Rumors, is about the dreaded emergency call from home. There is no time to make excuses, which leads to how to handle those curious questions the next day.
Hello? Are you okay? Monica, calm down so I can understand you. What happened? Monty, can you walk? Okay, stay there. Don't move. I'll be right home. Yes, I'll leave now. I have to leave. I have an emergency at home.
Is everything okay? What happened?
I can't explain now.
Is Margaret here? I gotta get her signature on this.
No, she just flew out of here. Someone called with emergency from home. I thought she lived alone.
I thought so too. Maybe she meant her parents' home, her mother and father.
Yeah, maybe your mother. I thought I heard her say Mommy.
Mommy? She wouldn't call her mother Mommy, would she?
Margaret ran past me in the hall. She looked really upset. What's going on?
I gotta go. I'll see you later.
Okay.
I hope everything's okay with Margaret's mother.
Margaret's mom just called. I think she had a stroke or something. She can't work.
Oh, that's terrible. Does Jim know about this? I know Jim and Margaret are real good friends.
I don't know. I haven't seen him. Would you like me to call him?
No, I'm going that way. I'll stop in and tell him.
Okay.
Jim, I was just coming to see you. Margaret had to go home for an emergency. Something about her mother having a stroke and being paralyzed. She can't walk.
Her mother? I thought her mother was dead.
Excuse me?
Nothing. Where did you hear this?
Oh, from Linda. She overheard Margaret talking on the phone.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Chuck. Something must have happened to Monica Sue.
What did you say?
I said funny how these things happen out of the blue. Can I use Margaret's phone?
Sure.
Thanks. Hi, it's Jim. Is everything okay? She did? Is she all right? Are you going to have to take her to the hospital? Oh, okay. Do you need anything? All right, well, listen, if you do, give me a call, okay? All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Was it Margaret? How's her mom?
It's too soon to tell. I gotta go.
The next day.
Good morning. How's your mom? Can she walk?
What? My mother? What are you talking about?
When you left her yesterday, we thought your mother had a stroke and couldn't walk.
Oh, well, you see, that wasn't my mother. God, I hate this line about Monica Sue. It's like denying she exists. Linda, there's something I need to tell you.
The next vignette, titled Job Transfer, shows a situation which on the surface appears to be just what the employee and manager want, but as you will see, has unexpected complications.
Thanks for coming on such short notice. Please have a seat.
Thanks.
I wonder what this is all about. At least he looks like he's in a good mood.
I had some bad news yesterday.
Uh-oh, I can't be getting laid off.
Marcus Allen out in Seattle, he's leaving the company.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so was I. He's done some great work out there. But you know, this does present a wonderful opportunity for you, Jose. You know, I normally like to give someone a couple of years to prepare for a promotion like this. But I think you're ready now. You know the job, you know the goals, and the project you've been working on for the past year has been excellent training for you. I think you could step right into this job. How do you feel about taking it?
I love giving good news like this. He's the best candidate for the job. And he's single, so he can probably get out to Seattle quickly. He's got kind of a funny look on his face, though. I wonder what that's all about.
This is a fabulous opportunity. But how do I tell him that I'm gay and that I have a family, that I have to talk to Rick to see how he feels about moving, and the kids, new school, new friends?
I appreciate your confidence in me, Don. I know I do well in this job. It's just what I wanted for the next step in my career.
I thought you'd be pleased. And I'm certainly happy to offer it to you, Jose. You know, I kind of envy you being single and able to pick up and leave without all the complications of having a wife who may have a job and may not want to move. And then there's the kids who have to change schools. It's so much easier being single. You can just pick up and go.
That funny look on his face is getting worse. What's with him?
Well, actually, moving won't be quite that simple.
Oh? I don't understand.
Should I tell him? I mean, how do you tell your boss you're gay and that you have a family? What if he hates gays? What if his uncle is Jesse Helms?
It's just that, well, there's someone I need to talk to.
Well,
What's going on here? He acts like he's hiding something.
well, sure. No problem. What'd you do, elope last weekend? By the way, Human Resources can fill you in on all the details if you decide to take this job. But I'm prepared to tell you now that we're going to offer you a 2-wage grade jump for this position. Of course, you'll start at the minimum of the salary range, but that's still an excellent increase for you.
You bet it is! Financial salvation! Hallelujah!
That's great, Don. I am very pleased. When will all these be effective?
Well, unfortunately, Marcus didn't give us much advance notice, and we do need someone out there as soon as possible. How about 2 weeks?
2 weeks? Great. Rick will be thrilled about this one.
Okay, Is it all right if I let you know by tomorrow?
Sure, that would be fine.
Good. See you then.
See you then, Jose.
The next day.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Jose. Come on in, have a seat.
Thank you.
He doesn't look very happy. Well, I sure hope he's not going to refuse this promotion.
Well, I'm happy to tell you that I will take this job.
Wonderful. Jose, you're the best person for this job. I'm very happy that you're taking it.
It's a big decision to make. It means uprooting 3 other people.
3 other people? I don't understand. You really didn't elope last weekend, did you?
This is it, Jose. It's showtime.
No, nothing like that. It's just that I've been in a relationship for 6 years now.
Well, I assume that your girlfriend would want to move with you, but who are the other 2 people?
Dios mío, give me strength.
It's not my girlfriend. It's my boyfriend, Rick.
Oh,
And we have 2 children from Rick's previous marriage for which we have joint custody of. I had to talk to Rick to see if he was willing to relocate. We talked to see if we were going to be able to afford to fly the kids over to Seattle. We share the holidays with their mother, and they spend their whole summer with us. But with the raise, I think we will be able to afford it. Rick is a freelance photographer. He has his own business. He has customers all over the country, so relocating shouldn't be a problem.
slow down, Jose. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, thanks, God. I was so nervous to tell you.
Well, I'm glad you did. Actually, Jose, I have a brother who's gay. He told the family about a year ago, and we had quite a struggle. I talked a lot with him about it, but I'm sure I wasn't much support for him. You know, I wish we'd had this talk sooner.
Me too.
That sure is an ugly tie he's got on.
Jose's job transfer crisis ended positively, but could the outcome have been different? Would the situation have been easier if things were already in place? And how about Margaret's scenario? We don't know the ending. How will Margaret's disclosure be taken by her coworkers? I'd like to cover a couple areas these performances may have got you thinking about as you watch them. One area is the personal barriers we have when it comes to gay and lesbian people. Before any of us can play a role in challenging the existing cultural barriers, we must recognize and challenge our personal ones. Let me emphasize, it doesn't matter what your orientation is, every person in this room has dealt with these barriers. They can all be summed up in one long sentence that goes something like this. Being gay is not the way people were meant to be. I don't get it. What is the point of this? There's nothing to get. It's just a fact. There are a lot of choices in life, and this isn't one of them. Just as people need to be allowed to grow into their talents and potentials, people need to develop relationships and living situations that work for them. And for what is the point of this? This is where your understanding of relationships gets put to the test. Good relationships are ones that allow the people in them to grow, to give and receive love, and provide the safety to take chances. Relationships that help and support others, encourage the heart, trust and forgive, have value. The other area is the difficulties we have talking and listening to each other. Day-to-day conversations are difficult enough. The problem with the gay issue is the rules are changing. It used to be common if someone was gay, or thought to be, to not talk about it. An unspoken courtesy of silence was extended and expected. But not anymore. Now it is difficult to know what to say. Expectations are changing as well. Many gay women and men want to be themselves at work just as most people do. But not everyone wants to come out. Some don't want others to be out. Letting the other person take the lead when it comes to sharing personal information is usually best. Just appreciate when someone takes the risk to come out, it is done with effort, and there can be some things and opportunities for you to help. Building and managing a truly diverse corporation is the title of one of a set of global performance expectations which have created a sense of excitement we all share. George Fisher, the person providing the leadership to drive these changes, is here to offer his thoughts. We are also pleased Ann Fisher, the other half of the team, has chosen to be here. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. Please help me welcome the Chairman, President, and CEO of Eastman Kodak Company, George Fisher.
Thank you. It's a delight to be here with all of you and to have Ann with me tonight. I get to go out many nights, but it's not always I get to have her here, and I hope many of you have your partners here also. Emily and Catherine were really persistent in living with my miserable schedule to adjust to that and to make arrangements that I could be here, because I did want very much to be with you. And that's probably as much as any other reason, because I think it's important that I send a message. It's also important that all the managers in this room send a message. And that message has to be fairly simple, that we as a culture must respect our differences, whatever those differences must be. And that we really, on the job, must focus on our job-related contributions, because in the end, that is what's going to matter. And in fact, I think building on our diversity as a company will really turn out to be one of our great strengths going forward. So it is a delight to be here, and Emily and Catherine have warned me I have 10 minutes and I've got to get off, because Elizabeth is really the entertainment for tonight. No pressure. I hate that when people do that to me. So have fun, have fun. A little bit. In any case, I thought I'd quickly just rush through what all of you know already. And 1994 was a big year for this company. We made a lot of changes. We refocused the company. We sold off about $8 billion worth of businesses. We took down our debt from over $7 billion to about $1 billion. We now have a AAA balance sheet that allows us great flexibility. We looked at the future. We sort of refined a mission statement and a vision statement where we want to take the company. We defined RONA teams to really pursue operational excellence in 10 different but overlapping dimensions. I think we have identified that the secret to our future as a company is really to achieve growth, because just getting a good balance sheet and momentarily a good profit and loss statement will not sustain itself unless we can get revenue growth. So we've looked at different areas of getting revenue growth, and I think we've got a lot of great things going today, whether it's in product differentiation, geographic expansion, especially in the developing nations of the world. The digital and applied imaging area in March 28th is going to have its big coming out, so to speak, and it will be a great affair that it really is exciting. It takes place in San Francisco, as a matter of fact, back in your home territory. And in addition, we've identified opportunities in service businesses relative to imaging, and we are rebuilding the capability of this company really to be a leader in Frank Zaffino's shop, who is here with us tonight, in the equipment area. because if we're going to get growth, we really have to be good there. But let's suppose all those dreams come true, that we can achieve growth and we can get operational excellence. I think the real secret to this company has to be in the cultural renewal that we have to go through. Because in the end, it is what this company amounts to each and every one of us as employees that will really matter and that will really bring out the best in all of us. I hope someday that we can really look at this company as a place where, once again, the best and the brightest in the world, from whatever background they may be, really look upon Kodak as a great place to work and as a place where they can each make a contribution that is dependent on their skills and their energy and not their differences. And that people are rewarded for those contributions, as all too often today is not the case. Now you notice that's an inclusive statement. There really are no boundaries to that dream that I think we all must have. Truthfully, every one of us is different in different ways. We must look at that as a strength, not a weakness. Every one of us is important to Eastman Kodak as a company, and we must be, and we will be judged by our contributions, not by those differences. I have 3 children, and I often like to give them advice, and they often like not to take that advice. But over the years, I have fallen in love with a phraseology, a piece of pop poetry, I would guess, by a guy by the name of Max Ehrman, who's an Indiana poet. At least he copyrighted this. I am not sure he really wrote it. But it's the thing many of you have seen called Desiderata. And I think it's particular. I want to steal a couple of sentences out of it today because I think it's helpful for the gay population especially to think about some of these words. But it's helpful for all populations who are discriminated against because in some sense they are different. And again, I'm just extracting a few words out of that. But those words are, beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe. No less than the trees and the stars, you have a right to be here. I think we all must understand that and live by that. And I might say, in closing, that every one of you is important to Eastman Kodak. Kodak is fortunate and proud to have you as part of this company. And we are counting on every one of you to help us not just achieve great results, but to change the culture for the better. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presence and your commitment.
It's my opportunity now to introduce our keynote speaker for the evening, Elizabeth Birch. I've really not spoken much to Elizabeth Birch in the 8 months since we've been organizing this. This is a very, very busy woman. But I've had a wonderful opportunity to speak with her this evening. We really searched high and low for Elizabeth over the last 8 months, so this is all about where in the world is Elizabeth Birch. Where in the world is Elizabeth Birch? Well, recently, Elizabeth's talents have found her a brand new showcase. She brings her savvy, business sense, marketing ability, activism, communication skills, and computer technology to the Human Rights Campaign Fund. As its new executive director, Elizabeth will be leading the organization on its journey towards mainstream America. Where in the world is Elizabeth Birch? It may be easier to tell you some of the places she's not. Elizabeth is not, believe me, sitting by her telephone. In fact, to contact her by telephone, you might have to catch her between flights between San Francisco and LA, going back to LA, back to Washington, maybe to New York, but you cannot reach her by telephone. You didn't give me that number. She's not waiting for opportunities to present themselves. Instead, she's going out there, making them, and finding them. Elizabeth saw a need and founded the AIDS Legal Services in Santa Clara County. She challenged unfair legislation by authoring anti-discrimination ordinances, which became law. Even as early as 1989, the Santa Clara County Bar Association recognized her initiative by honoring her with a Pro Bono Lawyer of the Year award. No, you will not find Elizabeth by the phone, nor will you find her in the closet or on the sidelines. You'll find her up front. You'll find her in the thick of it. You'll find her in places where changes are happening and injustices are being fought. Where in the world is Elizabeth Birch? Well, just for this evening, she's right here. And it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Elizabeth Birch.
I feel so guilty, I cannot tell you. I want to really thank Emily Jones. I drove her crazy. I think I drove you all crazy. I am absolutely delighted to be here. This is a very, very special evening. For Kodak, this is history. This is a transformative evening. I want to acknowledge the fact that it is not just the Lambda network that is here, but a number of networks, and that makes the overall fabric of Kodak very strong. And it would be one thing to just have your chief executive officer here, but you have a tremendous one. And his domestic partner, Anne, who have very excellent family values by being here. So I think you should note this for what it is, which is literally a transformative moment in the history of Kodak. You can probably only imagine, for those of you that are not gay and lesbian in the room, the collective courage that it took to plan this event and come to it, and imagine when all of that energy is unleashed on digital imaging and growth. This. I wanted to start personally because I think it's very important that as gay and lesbian people, we share the latitude and longitude of our lives. And I am one of those people that grew up, I was an American that grew up in Canada and in Europe. And it gave me a very unique perspective on this country. It gave me a deep love of the American Constitution and the civil rights and civil liberties and principles and values that are at the very heart and the core of this country. And I was literally one of those kids that sprung whole on the Canadian prairies as a little tiny lesbian. I simply was. I was acutely aware of it. When I was quite young, I felt very different. And uniquely, I felt enormously special. I felt like I was part of a wonderful, exciting, colorful, grand mutation in the universe. And I had a very active imagination. And I love it when people say, you know, I don't believe in the gay and lesbian lifestyle. And it's the equivalent of saying, You know, I don't believe in that daffodil. It's lifestyle because it's a slightly different color than the other flowers in the garden. Literally, I think we are a fascinating, fascinating, and wonderful people. And to give you a sense of who I was, because a lot of people have wondered why someone would leave a superb corporate position at a Fortune 100 company to go head up a gay and lesbian group, the Human Rights Campaign Fund. I have to translate it for them by saying that I have always had an activist heart, but I'm definitely a capitalist tool. I believe that there are a number of CEOs in this country, and I suspect that George Fisher is one of them, and I know John Scully is one of them. John Scully is a personal hero for me. That something got stamped in their DNA, and I think it was coming through the 60s. Being exposed to the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the gay and lesbian liberation movement, that their very being got influenced, stamped by those values. And although these are bottom line kind of men and women leading corporations, nevertheless, there's a value system that has gotten built in, and it is emerging in not just a cluster of companies in this country, but I think in many, many companies in this country. And I think what you will see as we kind of scream toward the 21st century is a new value system that takes the best of the left and the right. So people are very much fiscally sound and focused, run good operations, are very customer service oriented, but that they build workplaces where people can actually feel valued and do their very best. When domestic partner coverage got instituted at Apple Computer, it was completely transformative. I mean, people were in tears, and gay and lesbian employees at Apple had felt like they had a good home, but it was a very good final step. And there is nothing like igniting the kind of loyalty and commitment and productivity, and really creating a place where people can do their very, very best to deliver to the bottom line. I also, though, wanted to talk to you a little bit about how, although Apple, for example, and I worked with a number of corporations in my position as co-chair of the board of directors at the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, which I held in parallel to my career at Apple. In fact, I went to the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force and Apple Computer in 1989, and the joke was that among the executives is that my secret goal was to turn Apple into the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, and vice versa. But I wanted to just tell you a story that's to illustrate that this movement is not isolated in terms of the computer industry and the entertainment industry, and that in fact we are all on a path of kind of digital convergence, and it will all end up touching, all industries will touch each other going into the next century. And it is true that at a progressive company like Apple, things were very good, but for some it was still difficult. On my last day of work, I had an executive come into my office and sit down. And he said to me, he was someone I had worked with for 5 years. And he said, I just want to thank you for everything that you did, especially on gay issues. And I said, you're welcome. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I felt proud and privileged to be able to help. But he couldn't talk, and he stammered, and he was nearly in tears. And he sat in front of me, and I let him go for a while. It felt like an eternity. And finally, I just said, are you gay? And he said, yes. And he said, I couldn't come out here. So I think that it's important for companies that are in places like upstate New York and not right on the coast in New York City or LA or San Francisco, to understand that being imprisoned in the closet can happen anywhere, and that leadership can come from smaller cities and the middle of the country for new industries and new companies. You should know that there is organizing going on just like you're doing here at Kodak all over the country, and my prediction is that we are going to see many companies in the next year or two institute new policies and domestic partner coverage, particularly in the Twin Cities at places like 3M. St. Paul, one of the largest insurance companies in the country, has already instituted it. And I have lists and data and so on. So what I wanted to say is that Kodak mirrors, Kodak is ahead in terms of most corporations in this country. And just by doing tonight, you've made a tremendous start. So I just want to let you know that, we're everywhere. We are at Kodak, but we're also, haven't you found this, even in rural communities, people say, I don't like the gay and lesbian lifestyle, but that Betty down at the bakery, she's okay. And we really like Ellen, her girlfriend. But there are lesbians. I mean, the ones out there we don't like. So I just want to leave you with, there is enormous hope in this country, and I only expect it to get better. It's going to be rough times ahead in Congress. We shouldn't have any illusions or be naive. There are going to be huge battles in Congress. But at the heart of the country, we're in good hands. So thank you very much.
Catherine and I would like to thank you for taking one huge step outside of your comfort zone, and by joining us here this evening at the beginning of our incredible journey. Catherine and I asked a manager, and many managers, the following question: what would have to occur this evening for it to be declared by you to have been a success? One manager said, well, the hallway conversations would have to be dramatically shifted positively in everyone's discussions about this issue for it to feel like a success to me. Then I ask you this question. As you leave, would you carry some piece of this conversation that you had this evening back into the workplace? Please discuss this with your friends, your peers, colleagues, family, just like Catherine, anybody you can find. We request strongly that you would become committed agents of change. We can do that, and we can create together the new Kodak that George Fisher talked about this evening. If we all commit to this, we will then produce a new Kodak that is extraordinary. Thank you for joining us this evening.